Hello, YouTube. Hello, MGTOW. Hello, Red Pill. This is Red Pill in the Wind. Now, congratulations on Brandon Trueblood and Hammerhand for getting their original channels back. Now, today I would like to talk to you about the warnings that I gave women and about the state of these manospheres. First things foremost, a lot of these Abbas and Preaches, Abba and Preach are literally taking bits and pieces off of stuff that I've said 5 years ago, 10 plus years ago. I put out a warning to women. I'm gonna give you a story. I'm gonna tell the story as it was. I'm gonna tell the story about the apartment complex full of men. Well, picture yourself in this wild utopia, wild place. An apartment complex full of men. Capable, strong, able-bodied, can defend you in many ways in one. You're in the alley, getting robbed by a small percentage of men. Now, those men in the apartment complex can come out, probably lay this man out cold, lay this man in the ground, and not leave it up to the courts and basically claim amenity on this one creeper. You know, I'm going to give you the way I wanted to give it to you. A bunch of men, any one of which can basically lay this man out cold and not even leave it up to the courts. Not waste time with the police, or they call the police and get this man, restrain this man, put him on citizen's arrest. But they chose not to because you're strong and independent and don't need a man. But you got a car apartment complex full of men that would have all had a gentleman's agreement of claiming amenity, that this body was just there when they got there. This body was there when they woke up. The body was there when they woke up in the morning, which would actually be true. We don't know who killed the man who tried to rob this lady, but deep down inside, amenity. That's the type of gentleman's agreement we make whenever we are allowed to. That's the type of gentleman agreement we used to make, whenever a woman was in trouble. You know why most of the attempted assaults always go undocumented? You want to know why? You know why all the attempted assaults on women never go undocumented? Because men always make these gentleman agreements that we're going to lay this person out and we're not going to say anything. We're not going to report it. The body was there when we found it. That is why when you say that you are strong and independent, you don't need no man. That is absolutely why men are not doing anything. That is why the assaults are going to go up. Because you told us that you were strong and independent, you didn't need us. Do you have, ladies? I have a question for you. Do you have the Violence of action to pull the trigger when a man's threatening you. I would hope so. That is why some of these assaults, because you told us that you didn't need us, and then now you don't need us, but you are using inventions to defend yourself that were made by a man. Make it make sense to me. You don't need a man because there's production of gunpowder. You don't need a man because there's production of primer for the firearms. You don't need a man because the street lights work. The utilities work. You don't see everything that is being held up by men. You refuse to see everything that is being held up by men. Are you going to climb in that sewer to clean it, to make sure that you can that when you take a crap it doesn't backflow into your basement? Most of your delivery stuff is delivered by men. I have seen very few women that are flatbedders that will roll their own tarps, throw them tarps on the back of the trailer. They usually try to get a man. They usually get a man to do it. I have seen a lot of things in flatbed and truck driving that is wild. A lot of women try to get men to pick up their tarps to put them on the back of the trailer. You know how much a tarp weighs? It weighs 110 pounds. Some of them can weigh 110 pounds, 200 plus. Some of them can weigh 110 pounds, 200 plus. And you have the audacity to tell me that you don't need no man. You're strong and independent. Okay, good. I'm glad you don't need a man. You're strong and independent. But I warned you that with that apartment complex, a whole building full of men, whole building full of single bachelor men, and you are getting robbed. Your gun's in your purse. He wants your purse. Your gun's in your purse, he wants your purse. And you just basically gave him a firearm. And all these men in this apartment complex are saying, nope, she got it. She's strong and independent, putting their headphones on, putting their earbuds in, playing music on their earbuds. And they will all claim that they have not heard anything while you are getting robbed. Not a single man wants the first floor. First floor apartments is going to be businesses. I put this warning out for you because of what's going on today. But you labeled that video as hate speech. You flagged that video down as hate speech. That was a warning to you, ladies, of what was going on. And that warning is happening right now. Haven't you noticed that men are giving you a little bit wider berth? Haven't you noticed that some men will literally sit there, analyze the bus, and analyze the best place to sit as to have the least amount of availability to sit next to you? Haven't you noticed whenever you sit down next to a man, he literally presses himself up against the bulkhead of the bus? He doesn't even talk to you. He doesn't even look in your direction. If he's knocked out, he wakes up and looks over there. And says, nope. His animal instinct is to press himself against the bulkhead. Haven't you noticed that? Haven't you noticed that? That the normal response is for him to press himself against the bulkhead and put hands close to you onto the thing to hold on, make sure there's no form of anything. Haven't you noticed that? That men are trying extreme methods to stay as far away from you as they can. That's what happens when you say when you say you'd rather pick the bear. This is what happens when you say you're strong and independent and don't need no men. This is what happens when you literally let the news when you give the news enough room to gaslight you. When you literally give men, when you gaslight men. This is what happens. That is why men are pressing themselves away from you. That is why men are avoiding you. But hey, what do I know? This is Rick on the Wind, signing off.